So, I wonder, can I let me rotate these things. Can I rotate me in a way that'll be decent? That helped. And if I ever move these engines anywhere, those two bulkhead structures will move with it, so that's an easy way to kind of adjust it as needed. I just don't like the idea of it, like, sinking in too much in there, because it is like an engine piece after all, so... And now that leaves the question, how the hell am I going to connect these two pieces, these two engines? Because I like their positioning where they are now. I think I need a wing structure, that's what I need. Kind of like connect to it. Question is, what wing do I want? What wing would be good? I don't think I want a bat wing, because that's what this looks like. And it is going everywhere. So, that actually does make it look like a... That's starting to remind me quite a bit of my soldiers from Star Drive, quite frankly. The wings is kind of very similar, especially if I change this in material like that almost. It gives it makes it look like a wing, but do I want to leave it like that or actually rotate it? That's actually decent. That helps solve my problem quite a bit. I'm actually kind of shocked how well that seemed to work. Now, I just need to adjust everything because I want this to connect to the metal points if possible. Because that helped make it more flush. Not perfect, mind you, because I still see the connector points at the end of the wings that are sticking out, so I don't want that. Ideally. But yeah, that worked. That seemed like that worked surprisingly well. I am shocked. I am really shocked by that. Now, I just gotta find a good position for these engines. And of course, figure out how to rotate them too, because now I gotta rotate them again. Because if I rotate them sideways like that, the metal's gonna start showing. Which I'm not really liking too much, unless I can somehow conveniently move it in place. Well, I'm moving it in too much now. Let's see, have it so that the metal piece is directly underneath the wing frame to help kind of negate it a little bit. I like it. It's slowly coming together. There's still that issue of how to connect the front of those engines, if there's anything I want to connect it to, quite frankly. You know, this might be a good opportunity to try and connect these metal pipes to it. If I can, but since this would be like my first real effort trying to work with them, I have no idea how well that's gonna work. Let's see, okay, so it is connected to wing, that's good. So, because I already got duplicates of them, I just gotta figure out this rotation to figure out how the hell I want this to connect. Because it's obviously too big, I already know that, but I have no idea where I want to go, because as soon as I change the scaling, it's gonna, who knows where it's gonna connect to. Let me adjust the scaling down, because I want to make sure it's at least the back there is flush as possible. So I see x-axis as bad as it. Nope. It's the z-axis that's the culprit here. So, okay, in combination with the x. So I gotta somehow dance with these stupid axis here so I can make it stay flush with the power cord there, because if that can completely cover it out and connect properly with the hull, then I am looking good. That's going to be the trick though, figuring out how the hell this thing will work, because all I really want to do is just twist it around. Yeah, I need that at 180, I think, or no, it's just 90 degrees, I guess. 90 degrees there, that's probably the best I'm gonna get. And when it rotates the z-axis, it goes down. There's nothing that seems like it rotates just spins it around, so this is going to be the hard part. So what happens if I rotate this 90 degrees? Can I fix that? Not with the x-axis, so why? Unless it do 180 degrees, it probably is not possible. Yeah, because it's completely the other way now. So let's see, can set axis fix that? Yeah, set axis can fix it to an extent, but now I need to move it inward. Okay, I think we're getting somewhere now. It's not quite connected, but scaling can fix that. And where do I want to connect even, is the real question. Because it's starting to get to a point where it's going to be smaller than that blue light section there, which I kind of want it to look like it's connected to that, or at least covers it over. Which means, I do need to rotate some more, don't I? We're making progress. Slowly but surely, but this is probably the most boring type of thing to work on. Just this little cosmetic thing. Yeah, I can offset it back to kind of help cover over. To fill in there, because adjusting the set axis there is affecting it. We'll see. Do I even need to connect to the frame? I probably just want it to connect to the ship. The problem is I would ideally like it to connect to the bottom portion rather than top, so is there a way to do that? There we go. That answers that question. I just gotta adjust the scaling appropriately now. And somehow, we're making progress. I gotta adjust the scale a little bit more because it's a little bit too close to the central frame. These bulbous frame pieces to my liking. But it's starting to come together. It doesn't quite look like a cruiser though. And I'm not sure how to fix that. Because the bottom portion actually looks good. I like how the bottom end looks. The issue is the top. And of course the cockpit. It all comes back to the cockpit. So how the hell am I going to fix that? I honestly don't know. Because we can do a lot of cosmetic stuff to kind of add some bulk to the piece here. Because let's see. Yeah, that already adds like bulk to it to begin with, even though it's kind of like it's going to need some readjusting regardless. So let's focus on that cockpit there. And actually, let me try and move these wings over, because it looks like it got moved out of place some. A little bit, because of how I scaled inward. Just a little bit. Because everything looks like it's out of place now. That helped a little bit, but not much. Because now this metal frame at the tip is starting to show itself. Which might ultimately be a bad thing too. But thankfully, the engines and everything else is connected to it, so it's not going to mess everything up. So I'm kind of free to adjust as I need to an extent. So the bottom, I'm happy with the bottom. I could possibly put one piece in between these two large engines if I need to basically just connect them together, but all that's left ideally is the cosmetics on top and this damn cockpit. How the hell am I gonna fix that? I don't know. I honestly don't know. And I could put a shell on there too. It's gonna look... yeah, that's really weird. That just easily ruined everything with its current scaling. Yeah, and of course I was hoping to add some like lighting there to kind of make it look larger than it is currently, but that's not gonna work well. Yeah, I got all these options to kind of fix that, so like I said, let me figure out this cockpit issue. I don't know how the hell to go about doing that though. Because we got this piece here. It's not quite going to fit in place though. It's not going to have the size I would like. Let me just see how much it can cover. Absolutely nothing of note. Unless I do proportional scaling, which of course, since it only has that one row of lights, probably not going to work very well. Quite frankly. And of course it's going to have this really bulbous-like look to it, which is going to be a little bit awkward, needless to say. Needless to say. Can I at least make this look redeemable? I'm going to say no. That looks awful. Pretty much because I know what I did. I'm just trying to cover over the gaping wound with a band-aid, essentially. So, do I want to get rid of this piece? That's the question. Do I get rid of this piece? And if so, what the hell can I replace it with? Because this piece is meant to connect on top, ideally, as like a command station. So does this piece, but at least that has more of a... that has like the shape I'm looking for, so maybe that could work. And thankfully, since I had nothing connected to it, I could thankfully just get rid of it without any issues. So, can this replace the piece? Although I need to have some proper connection piece, because again, this doesn't look the best. A bit awkward, because there's nothing connecting on the bottom now for it. Again, this piece was meant to connect to something, so how the hell do I do that? Could this do it? Have it upside down and just be a connection piece. Because that's not going to look as much as a cockpit so much, more than just a open window port to see what's below. To some extent. Off idea, yes. But maybe that'll do it? That's really weird. Because it's conveniently just the right size to be inside the superstructure. Yeah, a lot of trial and error. That's pretty much the name of these ship design videos. And hope if I can get something out of it. But, making progress. I just have to figure out how to scale this. Because I don't like how it's like, I want to kind of be flush inside the metal there without overlapping like it is right now. Because you look carefully, that looks awkward. Now I gotta select this thing. There we go. Change the scaling some. And apparently there was some pieces, a piece of it sticking out too, which is not a good idea. And I can shrink the x-axis. I can shrink the part of it as much as I like, almost. Almost. Huh. Now that seems good. I like that. It almost seems like part of it, the command structure now. Thing is, do I want to move this now? Because if I shrink it down and then move it up, it can at least look more flush, maybe? Okay. Everything seems to be connected in some form, which I kind of like. The idea though is how flush everything seems, because this metal piece here stands out. It's almost, looking closely, it looks like a sword some. Not to mention it seems low poly or something. It doesn't seem as graphically detailed as everything else, because it looks like it just looks low pixel. Because look, it's not like a proper circular piece, and I don't know if that's because of this top piece or something else overlapping with it. Because that doesn't look very fluid or very graceful. It's just very rigid looking. Looking at it from the bottom piece here it seems fine, but it feels like this frame needs to be fleshed out somehow, which is kind of odd. And it is part of the design, apparently. It's kind of awkward. Odd. I'm almost willing to give up on it, at least trying to fix that, because I like everything else, because this bottom portion actually fits well with the bottom bulkhead, which I like. It's just a matter of I could put some cosmetic stuff on here to kind of help fix it up some. Now let's see, what kind of bulkhead structure do I want on it? And that comes down to flipping it over. Flipping it over. How do I... Because yeah, that's how I want it to be, but of course now I have to scale it in a way that it fits in, or adjust it, which is a bit awkward. So let's try that and then rotate, and I'll have to scale it. It looks completely different because of that shell piece, because of how massive it is, I gotta say. Phoenix flytrap style, or some big claw. So let's see if we can get proper scaling to keep that feel to an extent. So we'll try scale 45 and try rotating it more. Because do I want to connect underneath like that? Is that too big? Is that too big? It's because of how it's hovering there I don't like, to be honest. So I'll have to somehow have that connect. Alright. We're getting there. So now I just gotta figure out how big I want it. Essentially. Because that adds a nice width to the front there at least. To an extent. I like the ideal look of it. I'm just checking if there's any flaws that kind of stick out. And again, check the scaling if it's the size I like. Because what I would like is this to go out all the way to where the front is. That looks good. Is there overlap anywhere? I'm not seeing any overlap. That helps a little bit. And it's not quite connected there, but it's close enough that it could look connected. It looks like anyway. So now it's the top section. Add a little bit of bulk to that to some extent. How do I want to do that though? Because we got this piece here. I don't even know what that is. Is that the same piece I use for like my pollinator and that? I think it is. No, it's not. This is the one that I use for pollinator. Which could have potential too if I place it right. And you know what? I think, does this have a cockpit piece to it? No, I don't see it, so I was thinking I could have used that for like a cockpit piece to an extent. I'm going to experiment with something here. Can I sink this in? Offsetting it. And how would that look when the inner portion is completely gone? Now, can I have it go out? Give it like exhaust ports. We're starting to turn this thing into a Ferrari. Or Corvette or some kind of fancy car. We just got these pointless exhaust ports. But it helps offset where that little point in the back from earlier is at least. So it has that bonus. It does have that perk going for it. Is it too far back though? I think it's too far back to my liking. Probably too big as well. So we'll try it again, connect into the back. So I think that helps some. Not much, but helps some. Oh, those back pieces start stick. It seems like with how they're coming out of nowhere though, it looks odd. So, is there a way I can make this metal piece come out and not look awkward? That's the question. Does that make it look better? No, not really, because it seems like it's coming out of nowhere. So I don't think I like it sticking out that much. That seems decent, but if I can have it where there's none of that brown component, or the actual components that's not part of the metal there. Ideally, my ultimate dream I would like for this piece is to have it where it looks like it's coming from the metal, or it's related to this metal frame here. But there is some discrepancy I dislike. So I dislike a little bit. This is a stupid idea. What if I invert it upside down? How does that look? Not nearly as good. It doesn't stick out as much, but it's kind of in the way of the engines now. So I'll leave that be. Now we'll try work on these wings a little bit. What was that piece I saw earlier? Or tried playing with here? Would that be useful? And if so, where would it be useful? Oops, I put that in the wrong spot. I want to connect it to wing, ideally. And of course that's not connected to the wing either, but at least I can easily make a copy of it. When I find the right axis, so that adds a tremendous amount of bulk, I gotta say. Now, can I flip this around? There, that looks... Or no, wait, that's the wrong flip. Ideally, which one... There, that's what I want. That adds a lot of bulk to it. A little bit too big, of course, so we'll see how that drastically changes as I adjust the size. And then have this above the wing to kind of flesh out the connector point, ideally. We'll see. And then I guess I can rotate it. Well, rotate and then put it back in, I guess, because now it's floating, which I dislike too. Now, is that too long? Definitely too long. This is kind of, all this is a kind of add bulk to it there, but I'm kind of feel like now, because of the added cosmetic stuff, that almost needs like the wings need to be extended some, to some extent. That's what it feels like. But before I do that, oh wait, I have selected the wrong piece. There we go. Let me try and move this forward some, and make sure everything is appropriate. There we go. Okay, slowly but steadily this seems to be working. Correction. Or, as I said, it seems to be working. Where it is or not, I'm not sure. Is that what I want? Do I want these wings to stick out some or not? Maybe not. I almost wonder what happens if I make them shorter. Then the engine starts sticking out, so no. We'll stick with the 100 and see about adding a little bit extra to these wing points. I'm just not sure what to add. I want to keep it simple because I think this is almost complete. But what can I add to those wings? At the tip anyway. What can I add? Can I add just a little metal piece? Just add a little piece to the end. Oh, that's not going to work very well because apparently the ends of these wings have no connector point or connection point, which is going to be really awkward. That's going to be really awkward to do because there's not like a red point at the very end of those wings is what I was thinking. So that hampers that a little bit.